It's done, people. I'm just watching the celebrations. All the players are crying. I'm almost in tears at this moment in time. Cabo Verde have become the second smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, to say those words, yes, you can cry about the expanded format, but how can you not feel joy for this nation? How can you not feel joy for players like Ryan Mendes and Vocinia who have been with the national team? They are the two most all-time cap players for the national team. They have been through the journey since 2010, 2012 when they qualified for their first ever AFCON, going to the 2013 AFCON, reaching the quarterfinals. Then they went through a couple of years of are we that team? You know, they didn't qualify for 2014 World Cup because of paperwork for fielding an eligible player. And then they get to this point. I mean, how can you not feel happy for this nation and for all of the Cape Verdeans around the world, in Portugal, in the Netherlands, in France, in Boston, United States? Like, this is a moment for all Cabo Verdeans around the world to feel joy, to feel a togetherness, to feel one of the proudest moments in the nation's history. AFCON, reaching the AFCON quarterfinal is an amazing achievement for Cabo Verde. Qualifying for the World Cup over a powerhouse nation like Cameroon, like a nation like Angola who have been to the World Cup before, who were just quarterfinalists at the AFCON. This is a remarkable journey, remarkable achievement by this national team. And you know what's the irony in this whole situation? They're not even going to play the AFCON later this year. That's like the whole irony about this thing is that they're not going to play the AFCON later this year, and they're going to go to the World Cup and play against the top nations around the world. And everybody now is checking, where on earth is Cabo Verde? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's 1,000 kilometers west of Senegal, archipelago nation, population around 550,000. I made a whole video discussing about the rise and how Cabo Verde have done this. Really, this is a outstanding moment for football. And you know, people want to talk about that football is dead. Where's the beautiful moments? I'm watching it right now, people. In Praia, Cabo Verde, you're watching one of the most beautiful moments possible where a nation is together, a nation can feel happiness, and that's the joy of football. That's what football can bring you. We can talk about the money in football nowadays, killing the sport. Where's the joy? Where's the players? But these moments when you're watching your national team qualify for a major tournament like the World Cup, and billions of people around the world are now going to find out about Cabo Verde. It's like, how can you not feel happy for them? I mean, what a ride these qualifiers have been as well for this team and the Blue Sharks is that they were down with 4 points in the first three games. They got embarrassed by Cameroon 4-1, and they got, outplayed, people. Absolutely outplayed. They get the 1-0 victory over Libya. They get the 1-0 victory over Mauritius. And I highly recommend watching that goal against Mauritius because Yannick Semedo literally puts in a hopeful cross. And because of the crazy wind, I think, in Cabo Verde, it goes into the back of the net. But the real changing point, I think, for this national team was when they went away to Angola. And Livramento, who I'm going to talk about very soon, came off the bench and scored two crucial goals. And they won the game 2-1. And I think that was the moment where, you know what? Are the Blue Sharks going to do this? Are they going to do They might have been the Blue Fish when it was AFCON qualifiers, but now they're the Hammerheads. Now they're the Great Whites. And then they got a victory away against Mauritius, and then they had that crucial game. One of the biggest games you will ever see in Cabo Verde at home against Cameroon. They defended valiantly. They had the perfect tactical setup, and then obviously Livramento absolutely bodied a €100 million midfielder in Baleba and just went through the heart of the defense. And then Onana, well, typical Onana, just let in an easy goal. It's just like those moments were such a changing point. Or the moment when they went away to Libya and really should have won the game if it wasn't, for the horrendous referee decision. And they kind of got lucky in the game because I don't know what the Libyan goalkeeper was doing in that situation for the second goal for Cabo Verde. But it just shows you the resilience of this national team, this never die attitude. And when they're on momentum, it's a wonderful team to watch. And I think we could all see that from the last AFCON when Bobista and Cabo Verde were by far the best team in the group stage of the AFCON. By far. The football they were playing, the midfield play. All the players, Ryan Mendes, Rodriguez, Lenini in the midfield, they were absolutely balling out. Obviously, they went out in heartbreaking fashion in the quarterfinal against South Africa. But you thought to yourself, hey, you know what? Cabo Verde are back. They were a little bit down for a couple years from like about 2015 to 2020. But as soon as the manager Bobista came back to the national team, he obviously was an assistant early on in the development of this Cabo Verde team. I think it was the assistant for 2012 AFCON, 2013 AFCON, excuse me. Bobista changed everything. He brought in a defensively solid team, and I think that's down to really Pico. You have to look at Pico, the defender. Pico, like, this guy, he plays in Ireland, people. He's grown up in Ireland. I think it's one of his parents are Cabo Verdean. He's never had a connection probably with the nation. And then he got selected into the national team. And look what he is the leader. And he just seems like the most nicest guy possible. Like, how can you not feel happy for a guy like Pico? At least some Irish representation is going to be at the World Cup. It's not with Pico, who plays for Cabo Verde. And he's been unbelievable in these qualifiers. I have to really highlight him that if it wasn't for him, because obviously Logan Costa, the Villarreal defender, he went out with an ACL earlier this summer, who was also a very key player for Cabo Verde. So Pico really had to lead the defense once again, and he's done a remarkable job. I have to highlight him especially, but you look at other guys like Vocinia, the goalkeeper, 39 years old, people. He's been with the national team since 2013, 39, and he's going to play at the World Cup. These are the stories you want to hear about a national team heading to the World Cup. Or a guy like Steven Moreira, the right back, who's also been fantastic throughout these qualifiers. Linini, who I highlighted earlier, I think this guy's a baller, man. I know he plays in Russia and Krasnodar, but this guy is a beast of a midfielder. Eye for a pass. Just, he's there. He's the glue for that midfield. If he's gone, that's trouble. Then you have Jaime Montero, who's just a skill merchant. This guy's a 5-star skiller, but he can put in a perfect cross like he did against Libya for the first goal for Cabo Verde. And then you have, obviously, the leader, Ryan Mendes, 35 years old, the most capped player in the history of the Blue Sharks. What a journey he's been. I think he's been with the national team since 2010. Like, can you imagine telling that to Ryan Mendes? Hey, Ryan, Cabo Verde one day is going to play in the World Cup, and you're going to captain the side. You're going to lead them to wherever it may be, AT&T Stadium, maybe even the Estadio Azteca. I mean, what a moment for Ryan Mendes. The guy has been through it all. Now he can happily retire just to get to this pinnacle moment and really putting Cabo Verde on the map. But the player really that needs to be, I think, the most highlighted is Livramento. He did not have a great start with his Cabo Verde career. He was actually benched at the start of these qualifiers because he couldn't do anything in the AFCON qualifiers. But as soon as he got subbed on against Angola away, and when he scored those 2 goals, it just seems like his confidence with the Blue Sharks went up there. Then he got the game-winning goal against Cameroon. He got the, obviously, game-winning goal today against Eswatini. The guy has been money. Absolute cash money. Clutchness. If you want to see a clutch player, look at Livramento. Knew in his career wasn't going the greatest with the Blue Sharks. Resurrects it in the most, phenomenal way possible by qualifying your nation to the World Cup. Obviously, he's born in the Netherlands, so shout out to Livramento. Shout out to all these players. Gary Rodriguez, who's also been a key player for the Blue Sharks throughout their history. But this is not really, footballing-wise, this is amazing because it still highlights that the underdogs can do it. No matter the population, no matter the size, no matter the infrastructure within your nation. If you just love the sport, if you have the proper structure like the Cabo Verdean FA have, and you call up the players that want to represent the national team, not just showing up like just for the World Cup. I don't want that for Cabo Verde. I don't want that just some random Cabo Verdean guy will be like, hey, I have Cabo Verdean grandparents. Can I come play for you? No. You stick with these guys. These guys got you to this point, the most beautiful point possible in your football history. Stay with them. Stay with them. Stay with guys like Ryan Mendes, Tulenini, to all these guys because they deserve it. And I'm just so happy because this is football. This is why I love covering international football. Everybody wants to talk about the Premier League, the Champions League. Of course, those are beautiful tournaments and that's where the best players in the world are playing. But this is what football's about. These underdog stories, moments that you will cherish for the rest of your lifetime. And now every Cabo Verdean around the world, like I talked about, in France, in Portugal, in the Netherlands, in England, in the United States, they're going to remember October 13th, 2025 was the most historic day in Cabo Verdean football history. And Wow. Just the scenes at the end of the game, the players crying. I mean, even Ryan Mendes, the game before Cameroon, where the national anthem was playing, he was in tears just singing the national anthem. It's like you could just see how much it means, national team football. Club football is beautiful, but representing your national team, especially at the World Cup with the entire world watching you, they're going to be like, oh, Cabo Verde, let's check this place out. This is going to hopefully just boost the entire nation. And now, definitely number one thing I got to do is buy the kit. So the kit supplier, they better come out with some fire kits. I better see 10 out of 10. I better see some shark sort of, I don't know, logo on it. I got to see some sharks. I got to see the islands involved as well. I got to see a fire kit. I'm going to buy the kit, and everybody should represent this nation because these are the stories that make football. So congrats to every Cabo Verdean out there. Your team is actually going to play at the World Cup. Football is still one of the most beautiful things in the world, people. And we have our new debutante at the World Cup. Now that is 3 debutantes at the World Cup. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Actually, last thing before I go out. How far are they going to go with the World Cup? Who cares? For this nation, qualifying to the World Cup is the pinnacle. If they go out of the group stage, hey, they at least got the experience, they got the exposure to the world. That's the number one thing I think for Cabo Verde. If they get out of the group, oh wow. I mean, that's just the cherry on top. You're adding the whipped cream, you're adding the caramel sauce, you're adding the peanuts to the sundae. That's the most beautiful thing possible. But for me right now, if you want to go prediction-wise, how far they can go, I would probably say it's a group stage exit. I hope I'm wrong because I would love to see Cabo Verde go as far as possible at the World Cup. But I think for them, for the players, getting to this point, the exposure they're about to get, it's the most fulfilling thing they will ever do in their football career. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. What do you make of Cabo Verde qualifying to the World Cup for the first time ever? Who has been the clutch player throughout these qualifiers for this national team? And how far do you think they will go at the World Cup? Remember to follow me on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, join the Discord, all those links, description down below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're going to do a lot of World Cup content heading into the World Cup. And of course, we're going to be previewing the AFCON. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this beautiful world. And shout out to every Cabo Verdean out there. Adios.